All right. So what you got in front of you, okay, is, like I said, the summative kind of final assessment of reactions other than your unit exam, okay, that you will have. It's out of 90 marks because every question on there is out of 3. There are 3 separate sections on this assignment. You need to make sure you do the right things for each section. Otherwise, you'll lose marks needlessly because you simply forgot to do something for that section that was worth a mark. Okay? And that happens all the time because people don't listen carefully to the instructions, okay, or read the instructions, okay, or listen. Basically, those are 2 really bad things. You should not do those. Okay? Listen carefully and maybe make a couple of notes here, right? Because inevitably, people lose marks on the easy stuff because they just forget to do it. Okay? So the first 10 questions, so that is questions 1 through 10 here, okay? All I want is for you to balance the reactions, okay? So fill in the blanks. Since it's fill in the blanks, if it's a 1, put a 1 there, okay? And then write the reaction out in words. All right? Okay, so write it out in words, okay, and balance. You don't have to identify the type for this one. You're going to get 1 mark for balancing it, 1 mark for the reactants being written right, 1 mark for the products being written right. Okay? Everybody follow me there. You might want to write that beside those instructions. 1 mark for the balancing, okay? Okay, so balance, 1 mark. Reactants, okay, 1 mark. Products, 1 mark. So really, guys, I'm not just assessing here your ability to do reaction stuff. I'm also assessing, can you still name and write formulas properly as well? Okay, so that's what I'm testing here. Naming, writing the reactants names correctly, writing the products names correctly. 3 marks each. Okay. You don't have to state the reaction type for the first 10. Okay, you will for the second 10. All right, now there's a couple of tricky ones here. Suggestions. Question number 4. The balancing is tricky for question number 4. Okay, and I would suggest on number 4. No, we're not going over this class because you're handing it in for marks. Okay. Suggestion for number 4 would be that you have the odd-even problem, which we've mentioned a couple of times here. On one side, okay, there are 6 oxygens, but on the other side, there are 5. Okay? And there's one way to solve the odd-even problem. How do you make all odd numbers even numbers? Doubling them. Okay? Suggestion. Doubling something. Okay? All right. And the other one that's a little bit tricky is 7. Okay, 7 is also a little bit tricky for the balancing part, not so much for the naming. Okay, just make sure again that you are looking at where the hydrogens go. Okay, you got NH4 on this side, but you got NH3 over here. Okay, that extra hydrogen is right there. Okay, to help you keep track of it. All right, the rest are pretty straightforward. Things to remember here, guys. Okay, Roman numerals on multivalent metals. Okay, if there are multivalent metals, make sure you're putting Roman numerals in their names. Okay, for this set of 10. And prefixes for molecular compounds. Okay, things like that. All right, questions on the first 10? Naming. Okay, so you got balancing, naming the reactants, naming the products. 3 marks. Okay. All right. For the second set of 10 questions, right? Now I've given you the entire reaction in word form. So now you have to write it in formula form. Okay? You are going to get 1 mark, okay, for the reaction in formula form. Okay, not 1 for reactants and 1 for products. 1 for the reaction. That means you make 1 mistake and you don't get the mark, okay, for writing the reaction properly. So you've got to be able to write the formulas. What kind of things should you think about? Dropping and swapping. Okay, how the Roman numerals help you with dropping and swapping. Okay, that is that the Roman numeral tells you which charge to use. Should Roman numerals end up in a formula? Never. That's the most common thing I see as a mistake on this section, is people writing a compound like this. Okay, that Roman numerals should never end up in a formula. They only end up in the name. Okay, all right. So 1 mark for writing the reaction in formula form. 1 mark for it to be balanced correctly. Here's the kicker. If you don't get that mark, are you going to get this one? No chance. Okay, so you got to make sure you get the formulas done right so that you get the balancing mark. Okay, the 3rd mark is the easiest of the 3 marks, and it's the one people forget to do. 1 mark for the reaction type. Okay, please remember to do that. That is the easiest mark of the 3 on that set of 10. Okay, so we've already said using Roman numerals correctly to help you swap and drop ionic compounds is something you really need to think about here. The other thing you really need to think about, special elements. If there's one place where people mess this up, other than the Roman numeral thing, it's forgetting an element is special when it's by itself. And then as a result, they don't get the balancing right. Okay, because they have, let's say, something like bromine, okay, that's a special element, and they just write it as Br when it's by itself. Okay, well now you're not going to get the balancing right, and you're not going to get the reaction right because bromine is special and needs it too. Okay, questions on that second set of 10? All right, the last 10, predicting the products of the reaction. You do not need to write these in words. That's why I didn't give you very much space in between. Okay? Do not write them in words. That takes way more time, and you don't need to do it. You're not going to get any marks for it, so please don't. Okay? What you are going to get marks for on this one, okay? 2 marks for the products. Okay? Because most of them are probably going to have two things in the product side. If it only has 1 thing in the product side, get it right. It's worth 2 marks. Okay? Products are always going to be worth 2 marks on this set of 10. Okay? Last mark, it's balanced correctly. Questions on the expectations there? Right, I will get back to you with a due date here. I'm just going to check the calendar, okay, and I'll get back to you on a due date for that one, but it'll be late next week for sure, if not even Monday of the week after. Right? Actually leaning towards that right now. Okay, so you got class time today. Let's use it effectively. Okay, get as much of this thing done as you can in class today. Realistically, you should be able to get close to half done, I would think, even though it's a short class. No, this one is an assessment of what you can do. Okay. I mean, if you want to talk to each other about it, that's fine, but I don't want you doing like a split the work. I'll do half, you do half, because I'm not gonna count on. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, 2 heads are better than 1. I'm okay with that. Okay, just don't be counting on someone else to do half of your assignment for you. Yeah. Just remember, guys, that on the unit exam, you're not going to have that option. You might want to start practicing your independent work on reactions a little bit too. Number 11, metallic iron. That's iron. Okay, just iron by itself. Okay, iron. Just in case there was any confusion. All right, guys, due date for this, March 16th. Okay, that's after your unit exam. I can't make it before. You got too much on the go already. So March 16th. Okay.